Ethical Hacking by Kyle Whitworth. The three phases of hacking. The first phase was actually the early computing. It's the creative programmer who wrote elegant code. They created the first programs and operating systems, and they had no intent to disrupt services. The second phase actually takes place between the mid 1970s and mid 1990s, breaking into the computers without authorized access, pranks, thefts, phone freaking, social engineering to obtain passwords. There actually was one incident where they were breaking into the Defense Department computers. And then you have the third phase, which started in the mid 90s to the current day, where you have hackers that are shutting down sites with denial of service attacks, also known as DDoSs, hacking into infrastructure services and transportation services, stealing sensitive information, for example, tax records, credit card information, basically credit card fraud, any of that. And you also have the security measures in ethical hacking. You have security tools that can be used to prevent attacks from hackers. Most notably used are the encryption and computer security technologies. Hackers basically look to attack new software that may not have the best security in place yet because it is a new software. Hackers also look for the possible backdoors into applications. They install viruses, trojans, and worms to aid them in this process. And some actually use a form of a keylogger, which is a program that they can get installed on your computer by you clicking on a email that's from them and has nothing in it, but it installs it in the background. It will actually log all your keys you press for username and password forms. And some of the programs can even go in and actually change the passwords to your applications to what the hacker has decided they would be, so that you can't even access them without uh, referring to the hacker first. But is hacking harmlessly? Is that even possible? Basically, hackers looking to find security flaws is as just like an intellectual exercise just for fun. A lot of them consider that being harmless, but most of the time the individuals hack the system without permission, and sometimes they will actually give warnings for security flaws, but possibly informing other hackers, meaning it's really not harmless and it's not ethical hacking. And hacktivism is actually not a form of ethical hacking either. They use hacking to promote political cause. They'll actually take down websites that have different beliefs than they do. Basically, then you have the rules for ethical hacking. For hacking to be deemed ethical, the hacker must obey the following rules. He must have expressed written permission to probe the network and an attempt to identify the potential security risk involved. You respect the individual or company's privacy. You close out all work. You leave nothing open for anyone else to see or exploit at a later time. And you let the software developer or hardware manufacturer know of any security vulnerabilities you are able to locate in their software or hardware if it is not already known by the company. And you also have many opinions of ethical hacking. Marcia Wilson states that I believe hackers have a lot to offer, where they provide balance of power by virtue of their creativity and technical skills. I think we need to protect and recognize them and find ways of working together. However, Brian Harvey, he actually says that he compared a bunch of adolescents breaking into a computer system with another bunch of kids hotwiring a car for a joyride. The latter would argue that it was perfectly fine because they weren't doing any harm because the owner of the car got his property back. Where these thieves are actually wrong, just like in the hacking field. Just because you go in and they get their property back does not mean that there was no harm done. It's very easy with one misclick, one wrong type. Any typo can cause serious problems and thousands of dollars worth of damage. So, is hacking justifiable, even ethical hacking? In my opinion, the ethical boundaries of hacking are dependent on one's situation and intentions. If one uses their skills to snoop or access information that they shouldn't, they're crossing a line in an ethical boundary. If they're using their skills to find exploits with the intentions of telling the owner of the software system, they are using their skills for good. However, they should still have written permission from the proprietary owner to be doing what they're doing. companies actually hire individuals with these certain sets of skills, and they use them to hack their own software and applications to find security risk in firewalls or networking errors. These individuals are actually called certified ethical hackers. Even our government and other governments have used hackers as a sort of resource, using them to hack into classified files and servers, even installing viruses, worms, and trojans that hinder and even shut down the system or service processes. In conclusion, I feel that ethical hacking is very justifiable when done by certified individuals. An amateur claiming to be an ethical hacker just to find security risks without the proper training can do, as I mentioned before, a ton of harm with just one misclick or typo. However, there will always be those who feel that any form of hacking is a crime, and convincing those that there is some good that can come out of hacking will be nearly impossible. With the amount of cyber attacks we see happening today, it's getting more and more likely that they will never accept the fact that some hackers have good intentions. For those wishing to get into ethical hacking field, you can actually become a certified ethical hacker, or a CEH. It's provided by the International Council of E-Commerce Consultants, also known as the EC Council. The exam itself costs about $500 and consists of over 120 multiple choice questions. As well, to get into this field, you need many years experience in the IT industry. It's not a just go in, take the test, and you become one. You have to have a very well drawn out background in the security field, IT field, programming field to be eligible to even take the exam. All right, thank you. Goodbye.